And welcome to Let's Talk About It with Jami Jones Ervin. Tonight, our guests are going to delve into the topic of navigating womanhood as a motherless woman. The episode today is a tender one. Today's guests is a collective of women whose mothers are now our ancestors. I hope that something is shared tonight that brings you some laughter, some levity, and a couple of nuggets that you can take away and help you process your own journey of grief if you're experiencing it. And if not, something that you can pocket and maybe call upon later. But whatever it is you glean from this episode, I just want to say thanks so much for listening and trusting us to be part of the journey with you. We have Gail Dudley from Columbus, Ohio. Rakia Duncan, Brooklyn, Queens, New York. Tanya Watson, I know it's not Akron, it's
Twinsburg.
Yes, Twinsburg, Ohio. And then Cynthia Myrie Coppin. Let me tell you, I know where y'all don't live.
It's Rochester, Michigan.
So welcome, ladies, to this. I want to start out just kind of getting all our feels out. When did your mother become your ancestor?
January 15th, 2000.
May 25th, 2023.
My mother became my ancestor on Mother's Day in 2014.
My mother became my ancestor May 9th, 2025.
And for me, it was June 1st, 2023. I was literally still texting Rakia, walking her through her journey, and not a week later, we were in the same sorority. And so I remember that first year, Gail, when the date came. It has now, for me, become the date that I say is her birthday, because that's really when she began to live. She entered eternity on that day. And so I've shifted my thought process. And so it helps me have a little joy with it. We're going to talk about some of those milestones. But when you hear the phrase, ladies, motherless woman, what does that do for you? What do you think? What do you feel?
I mean, for me, I feel like I lost both my compass and my anchor. Mm-hmm. And I feel like I'm still experimenting with parenting, and that everything I'm doing is wrong. And I just have to hope that I'm not going to mess them up.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I thought about this when I looked at the questions, and when I first read it, I'm going to tell you, it hit me right there to even think of it. You know, it was just, it just hit me. And so what came, because it has been 26 years, what came to me was, for me, is that, you know what, now I'm now a woman who I've developed resilience because of it. But I also now rely on those lessons, the memories, phrases, mannerisms, you know, all of those things. Those help guide me, you know, those things help guide me. So that's what, you know, kind of came to me, besides just the general empty feeling when I first thought of the question.
And I curated, thank you both for sharing that. I curated this group because, again, it's a sorority we don't want to be a part of. But y'all, like, we are in the chapter of the sorority that if you have to be in it, you want to be in it. What I mean by that is we had grand love and respect for our mothers. There are people who are in this sorority and they're in a different chapter affiliation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know, so when we think about that, what are some things that you learned about womanhood from your mother? And what have you had to learn, or what are you starting to learn on your own?
My mother she has such a big personality. It's strange that with such a big personality, it's only after she's been gone that I've been able to more clearly see myself. If that is anything that anyone else has experienced. And so one of the things that I've really learned is not only who I am, but I can see her imprint on me, and I can better distinguish her from me. And I'm able to tap into the her that is the imprint upon me when I need to do so.
Yeah, it's interesting what you're saying there, Cynthia, because lately I find myself saying the exact same things that she used to say. And I was like, I'm really starting to sound like my mother. And I don't know if I'm just paying more attention to it now, but I can hear her. I can smell her. I realize some of my mannerisms are the same as hers, where I'm becoming somewhat like her, but I still have her in a special container, if I can say it that way.
Absolutely. Yeah. I hear her. I sound a lot like her now. And I laugh like her. So there are times that I start laughing. I'm like, oh my gosh, I sound like my mother. It's really interesting. Kimberly Minor, a girlfriend of mine, Kimberly Minor, and some of you know her. Kimberly said to me when she came and sat with me, she said, one day you're going to look in the mirror and you're going to see her. And that has happened for me. And it's just like, you're like, what? I really didn't see it. Not with this level of clarity before. I want to go back to what you said, the smelling her. Has anybody else experienced that where you smell your mom or smell something that reminds you of your mom?
Yes.
I have her hats.
Oh,
yeah.
I was just going to say something similar is that I have some things of my mother's, and it's like, of course, it seemed like for the first couple years, wow, I could just really, really, really smell her. Then it was like the smell was fading.
Mm-hmm.
But then over years and time, that smell came right back.
Yeah.
It came, I think, I had to, you go through stages and you just go through the different things. And so it is just, so I absolutely can.
But it's interesting what you were saying there, Tanya. It was my daughter, actually. We were cleaning out her room and my daughter was in town. And there was a dresser drawer full of scarves. And my daughter grabbed her perfume and started spraying the scarves. And we were like, what are you doing? She says, we're going to preserve her smell.
Yeah.
And so then she said she had read somewhere on TikTok, Reddit, seen or whatever. She put them in Ziploc bags. And preserve. So every now and then we just open the Ziploc. Each of us had a piece, different scarf or whatever, and can smell them. We just zip it back up. So, so I have one in the Ziploc, and then I cheated. I also had another one that I just hung up in my closet that I could smell her as well.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting that when I was cleaning out Mama's house, I opened the top drawer and her scarves were there. And Tanya, Cynthia, y'all were walking this journey with me too. And that's what sent me to my knees. Mm-hmm. When I opened that drawer and the smell hit, I literally fell to my knees, and it was the release. It was the first release that I needed. And it was like weeks past. But even in my release, I literally just started saying any scripture that I could, because I truly believe that he inhabits the praises of his people. And so I had to say scripture. I'm calling his word because I'm summoning him. And I was saying scriptures that didn't even match what I was going through. It's just like, in the beginning, God made heaven and earth, just anything that was in there, smite the kids that laughed at the bald-headed prophet, just any scripture that was in there, I began just crying out and lamenting in that way. But the scent thing, Cynthia, I don't know if you remember this. You called, we were on the phone once, and you just said, Cynthia has the gift. And in her quiet, calm voice, so has she visited you recently? I'm like, how do you know these things? Where's the camera? What was that movie Jim Carrey was in? The Truman Show. Where's the camera? Because I smell her sometimes when I'm out. Like, I kept my mother's car under the pretense, and it is this. We kept it under the pretense we're giving it to Caleb. That's Caleb's car. But I drive it every day, y'all. I've not driven my car hardly at all. I drive my mama's car every day. And some days I smell her in the car and some days I don't, and of course the car has been thoroughly cleaned, right? So it feels like a visitation. Mm-hmm. And my children, right? My children have experienced it. And what gets really interesting is, and Rakia, I know your babies had a very strong relationship with your mom. What really gets interesting is when the children have their experience and you don't. Like Caleb has said to me, Mom, do you smell her? And I'm like, no. And I say, she's here to visit you. So that's a very special thing. But Tanya, your babies didn't get to meet. Well, did your eldest get to meet your mom?
My eldest, my youngest did not get a chance to meet my mother at all. And what's so interesting about the whole thing, the year that she passed, when she passed, my sister was pregnant when she passed. And my mother's name was Mary. So my niece's name, Mary. But my son, I had 3 years later. His birthday is 2 days after her birthday.
Oh, wow.
And which was just, so, you just have all of that. But no, so he's the only grandchild. Well, actually, not the only one. He and Mary, they're the only two that never
got to meet her.
Never got to meet her, just, and so
in the natural.
Correct. In the natural. So they get all of the stories, the this, the that, they're looking at the pictures with, your sister, your brother, that kind of a thing. But so nope, they never did. But I'm like, she saw him. She saw him, she was with me many times while I was pregnant. I know that.
Yeah.
So yeah. But that was a hard one. That was a hard thing that was just hard. That was hard.
When you say that, are you saying the going through pregnancy after she had left?
All of it, going through, knowing that, she wouldn't see him.
Yeah.
More importantly, that he would not experience her the way his brother had the opportunity.
Yeah.
You didn't get all of that. So that way, knowing that was what it was going to be was very hard. But then also, just like I said, going through the pregnancy without her, that was very hard. There was nobody to talk sense into me and all that.
And I think, and I want to touch on milestones, but I again, all of us on this call are mothers. One of the things I miss the most is there is not another human being who has the interest in my children that my mother had.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I could say, Mama, Caleb walked up the stairs at 15. Caleb walked up the stairs. Send me a video of him. What?
Yeah.
I'm serious, y'all. It was kind of sick. But now nobody's asking me for mundane videos. Nobody is like things that happen. And I will say for me, it's though that's what I miss. Like my mother and I talked every day.
Yep.
And multiple times a day sometimes. And I
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know and I just would not. I don't have anybody to tell the mundane stuff to, Gail. You know what I'm saying? I think about the journey that you're taking, Gail. Gail's husband is a newly installed pastor of a church here. Just some things that I know that you would be processing, right? Because these were our real tightest two women.
Yep. Yes.
Right? Nobody rode harder for us than these women, and nobody corrected us faster than these women.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
There are times that I can sit in church and something could have gone crazy, and I could literally sit there and just say, "Okay, Mom, what do I do right now?"
Yeah.
And I can literally hear her say, "Keep your head up, shake that off, deal with it later, keep going." But to even have a conversation like after church, I don't have that.
Yeah.
So, it's been very hard, and it's not even a year yet. So.
No, we collectively are holding you up because that first year, it's still a blur. I mean, I think it took me about that long to be like, for real, this is how my life will be. Okay, got it. And then year 2, I started saying, well, okay, so this is how life is now. And what I was made keenly aware of, and I did a reel about it, was that for me on June 1st, 2023, time stopped, but life kept going. And I found myself in this dichotomy of two things being very real, two things being very true at the same time. And Warkia, I think about how you still sing because your mother loved your voice and you all used to sing your hymns together and that type of thing. What else do you do to bring yourself comfort when the emotions well up?
I have all of her prayer journals. And one of the things that I did, so I think it was the year 2000, I wrote down things that I wanted to happen within the next 7 years. And I thought I'd thrown it away. And she kept it.
Oh.
And she wrote down the date every time the thing happened. And so when I look at that, the thing that I keep on reminding myself is that God can't lie, regardless of what I'm feeling, regardless of sometimes me just wanting to be like, me and God just ain't it anymore. But I'll read her prayer journals and see how many of the things she prayed for, I'm living in it right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like some of the things that you share about your mom are so beautiful. Warkia will post text messages from her mother on certain day because her mother called her my precious and my beautiful. And my mother used to call me her butterfly. And so there would be times you'll text that, I still have I ran a half marathon, April 29th, 2023. I've not run a long race since then because that's something my mother and I used to do together. I did register for one, and when I went to go pick up my badge and everything, the smell from the tennis shoes took me out, and I could not. I just haven't run another one. But on that particular race, I had just had my foot reconstructed, y'all might remember, November of 2022. And so 4 months to the date, I did a half marathon on a newly constructed foot. And it was hard. And my mother was tracking me, not literally, but she knew my mile pace. And my mother would call, and I'd have the earbud in, and it'd say, call from mama. Answer. And I'd say, yes. And I'd say, hey. And she'd say, okay, are you about at mile 6 now, right? Blah, blah, blah. And we would talk, and I can hear the fatigue in her voice now because my mother was transitioning. Her body was giving out, but she had enough to get me through that. And the last call we had was at mile 10. And she said, you can make it from here. So, my little butterfly, I'll talk to you later. And I did. I made it, y'all. Yeah, it was bad. It was hard. Now, Gail, Tanya, and Cynthia, you all have siblings, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sisters, even.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Warkia and I do not.
Mm-hmm.
We're onlys.
Mm-hmm.
And so, not that one pain is greater, but tell me about the sharing of the load with your siblings. How does that look? The sharing of the grief load, because you all, that's a shared grief. Tell us about that.
Well, I want to say I really appreciate my sister because she is so good about remembering the things that either I cannot remember or I choose to hide from.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So that is the beauty of having a sibling. Maybe brothers can do that as well. But like just the other day, and maybe it was because I was thinking about this, I said to her, do you remember what color mommy's casket was? Because I could not remember. And so I was like, and do you remember this? And she's like, no, because I couldn't even look. It was like I either look and lose my mind.
Yeah.
Or I choose to just be present.
Yes.
But put my numb suit on as tight as possible. So the only thing I can do right now is breathe.
Yeah.
And so when I think about the sharing the grief load, my sister does that for me. But the other thing that she does that helps to share the grief load is she is one of the only person, I guess besides my father, who I can get a good belly laugh talking about Doris Myrie. I mean, so there'd be times when we're talking about her in all of her bigness.
Yes.
Like, I told you my mother died on Mother's Day. And, we've often said our mother was such a diva. Only she would choose to die on Mother's Day. Like, I'm going to make sure.
Right.
This day is mine.
Right.
Forever.
Forever. Okay.
So I don't even remember the date as much as I remember it was Mother's Day.
Mother's Day. Yeah.
Because she was like, oh, no, baby. I own this.
This is about me. Okay, you can have all the children you want,
but this will always be about me. And so my sister can share with that kind of laughter through the pain.
Yes.
And then also help to augment the memories
Yeah.
for where I was unable to engage as much.
That's good. That's good.
It's been interesting because I'm the oldest.
Yeah.
And so, of course, being the oldest, you just have things that just come with being the oldest. But, I think in Gail, as you're getting and going through this, I'm going to echo what Jamie said. I mean, that first year or so, I mean, I really, only thing I can remember is driving one day and pulling my car over on the highway because I couldn't drive anymore and just I was waiting for the police to come and everything because I was literally in my car just completely losing it, just losing it. But being able to, having those moments, and because it is your sibling, your sister, we don't even have to talk. You don't have to talk. We can just
be.
We could just be. And I think sometimes it's just that connection of just being. And we can do it. My sister is one. She will always, she'll remember. She's the one who's going to say, oh, happy heavenly birthday and things on Facebook. I can't do that.
Yeah.
I cannot do that. I cannot. I might even like her post. I can't. It's just, this me 26. I still cannot. I can't do that. But yeah, I think that's probably the biggest thing is that I appreciate and I love and I do need sometimes just that energy to just be, on her birthday, to just be, when January 15th comes, to be from a distance, because I'll tell you that day, that is not one while we both share that date. I need to be by myself.
Right. It's your journey. It's a share.
Exactly.
Y'all are both in the same race, but you're in your own lane.
There may just be, there'll be a text message and it just may be a meme. It just may be a heart.
Yeah.
It just may be something because that's all you're going to get from me on that day.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think it's just being in that space and being able to connect and just know that we share that.
Yeah.
You understand, I understand. I don't have to say anything. You don't have to say anything, but we just have that. So
it's interesting because I just went through that January 26th, the day she entered the hospital and was there for the rest of the time. But it's interesting because that was a very difficult day for me. Even reliving that, like this is the day she was taken by ambulance to the hospital, entered ICU. So if that hit hard, I can't even imagine what May 9th is going to do, which was the Friday before Mother's Day, Cynthia.
Yeah.
So,
and on some years it will wind up being Mother's Day.
Right.
Just because of the way the calendar hits.
Because of the calendar. So I'm bracing myself in this first year.
My mother went by ambulance. So it was Mother's Day of 2023. And she didn't go to church with me. It was the first time we had been in the same city together. And she didn't go to church with me. We didn't, I went up there, went in there, and she had started getting dressed. And she said, I don't feel like it today. And I said, and you don't have to. I said, I'll see you when we get back. And so we went to church, we got back, and Mark was on the grill. And she said, I'm just not feeling well. Will you take me to urgent care? And I said, sure. And I took her to urgent care. And I took her to a standalone emergency room, thank God. Because from there, on Mother's Day, they took her to Riverside. And my mother came back home for a week before, not even a week before she transitioned. So it's interesting how the three of us share this thing on this Mother's Day component. I don't have a sibling by my mom, but my husband has been in my, for 20 plus years, right? And Mark's mother has been gone since 97. So when he met me and started dating me, I mean, like, my mother never called him Mark. Well, when we first started dating, she wasn't sure, But once he convinced her, about 5 years in, I'm just like, she started calling him son. My mother never referred to him as Mark. It was son. Cards that she wrote, son. And he called my mom mama. And up in the closet, so Gail, at Riverside, those little stickers where it's round and you write the room number, the shelf where his folded shirts and sweaters are, on the inside is lined with those stickers from when he would go visit her. And so, you think about, I don't have a sibling that felt that grief, but I have a spouse and I have children who, it happened going into Caleb's freshman year. And I'm not, we're here. Everybody on this call, we understand counseling is a good thing. I am a believer who believes if you need therapy, you go. Because there were times, y'all, and Cynthia and Tanya, y'all didn't even know. There were times I was afraid to leave my child at home. My baby couldn't move. And so compounding the fact that my child's heart is absolutely broken with the fact that who can I talk to about this? Who's going to for real, like go on the floor and pray for my baby? You know what I'm saying? Oh my gosh, just that incredible, incredible weight. Because one of the last things my mother said the Friday, because Aaron moved, there's a lot of moving parts were happening in my life at that time. And so it was the Friday, and I'm gonna make you remember something, Tanya. So it was the Friday my mother got released from the hospital to come home. And these are her words. They're sending me home to die. Okay, well, I'll make sure the room is clean. I don't know. Mm-hmm. What do I do with that? But my mother and I were that's how we communicate. Mm-hmm. And so she said, they're sending me home to die. And I was like, okay, well, okay. And so I picked her up that Friday evening. That Thursday, the boys had gone to see her. My eldest son, Aaron, moved to Phoenix that Friday. He and Mark left Friday morning driving to Phoenix. Caleb and I picked Mama up from the hospital Friday afternoon, evening, and got her home. But that Thursday, when Aaron stopped by to see her and say, heading out tomorrow, kiss, kiss. And she said, well, we need to get a picture. She said, this is probably the last picture you'll get with me. Mm-hmm. And that's what did it for him. He called me. He said, you've been trying to tell me, but I couldn't hear it. And so now he has the dichotomy of I'm young, I'm starting my career, I'm being corporately relocated to another state, I'm getting to start over. I got this, right? And so, and her saying to Mark, there were things Mama said to Mark, she said, I won't see my baby graduate, meaning Caleb. Because she had seen Aaron graduate college and high school. And she said to me, so I'm interested in some of where I'm going with this next question, or what are some weighted moments that you remember Mama saying to you that really, they may make your eyes water, but they also are things that make your heart swell, right? Because what my mother said to me in January of 2022, when we learned she was terminal, she said, I'm not worried about me. She said, I'm sad because my grandmother passed November of 21. So 2 months later, we get this news about my mother. And my mother said, I'm not worried about me. She said, I'm sad for you. She said, I know what it's like to lose your mother. She said, and it's going to be a hurt that no one can heal, and I won't be here to help you. You know what I mean? And I can't tell you how many days I've said, girl, you were right. This is ghetto. Okay. So what are some memorable, because all of our moms were ill. Nobody's mother, got struck by lightning, or you know what I'm saying? And I tell people, you can be as prepared as
for mine, yeah.
Oh yeah, yours was quick.
Didn't know. Yeah.
Yours. Yeah.
April 26th to May 25th.
That's right.
No clue or anything. Yeah.
And so the Band-Aid is ripped.
Remember the Christmas, right? But the Christmas before, we'd all gone to Ghana together.
Yeah.
And so being there with everybody, the closest that we would get to Liberia, because as I told you before, I don't know if I'm ever going back, because every time I go, a war breaks out. So maybe it's me. Let me keep the people safe by staying on this side. I'm just saying. But for me,
on behalf of the Liberians, thank you.
Exactly. I'm like, I'm trying to do my part in this world, but her seeing all of her grandkids and seeing me with the man she said and my grandmother said I was going to marry after, I was like, y'all, no. But her feeling, and I remember like when we were getting on the plane, and she's like, I ain't gonna be here forever, but I also know you're gonna be all right. And I was like, if you don't shut your mouth, you
Yeah.
already know the power of life and death is in your tongue. How dare you? You a whole evangelist and saying like this. She was like, listen, things happen. And I remember just being so mad at the thought that an only child could exchange mother relationship for her nuclear family. And I'm like, what is wrong with you?
Yeah.
And now I'm like, it's not an exchange, but I do know I'm held and I'm grateful for that. So maybe she was halfway right. I don't know.
Well, what about some lighthearted things? What are some fun memories that we have with these these girls, these ladies?
Oh, I have a ton. I have a ton.
So it sounds like all of our mothers like to laugh. I know mine like to
Oh,
laugh. Yeah. Yeah.
love
Cut
to
up.
laugh.
Yeah.
Love to laugh. Hilarious and was brutally honest. Brutally honest. That was some everybody, I mean, it's, they would always say, you always knew where you stood with Mary. You always knew. I mean, if she didn't like you, she told you she didn't like you.
Yeah.
That would include any of my friends. She did not care for. But
wasn't she right though? That's the part that gets you. The things.
Yeah, I think in hindsight, absolutely. But you know what? We laughed a lot, always cracked jokes. I think about, of course, they always have comments about, the men you date and the different things, and then the ones you end up with. And she always talked about Corey's knees. She always talked about his knees. So, now the ongoing joke all the time is, I'm like, make sure you hit those knees with some lotion or something now, because mama probably look right now and she talking about you, but
right.
but yeah, you know what? There was just it was just always so much laughter. I'm here to tell you, my mother was a whole hot mess. Fun, fun, fun. We just there's so much laughter in the memories, movies, everything. That even some things are, when I watch it,
Yes.
you can laugh and cry.
Yes. Cynthia, I want to come to you, but Gail, with you being in year one, where have you found the joy? Where have you found a belly laugh? Something has come to you that's tickled. See?
when it snowed, what was that, about a month ago or whenever?
Yeah.
I started laughing because I could hear my mother saying, "Oh, it's still coming down. When is it going to stop?" And I could just keep hearing it. And I would look outside and it would still be snowing. I could still hear her say, "Oh, it's really coming down now. I don't know when it's going to stop." But it would be the way she would say that.
Yeah.
And it was like, so I actually called my son and daughter. And when I called, I was FaceTime. They were laughing. I said, "What are y'all laughing about?" They said, "We knew you was going to call. Are you thinking about grandma talking about it's still snowing?"
That's special. Yeah. That's perfect.
So, I mean, that was that's the fun and laughter. And then every now and then, just every now and then, I will, if I'm working at home in my office, I will turn on at 12:30, 1 o'clock, Young and the Restless.
Young and the Restless. Okay. Okay. Yep.
Just to see if Victor's still living.
Right. Yeah.
Because that would be her thing. Is Victor still living? Like, yes, he is still, he's never gonna die.
Never. Yeah. The Crypt Keeper. Yeah.
So there are a couple of things that bring me joy. My mother had a code name for everybody. And in all of these code names, especially people she didn't like, so she would be calling them these things and, just these code names or whatever. And sometimes my sister and I will be talking about these names. We're like, What was her real name again? 'Cause we don't even know the real name. Because this person went by, or it could be their real first name and then her little code name on the end.
Yeah,
Or it
yeah.
could be her, whatever she would do, she'd have
Her
all these.
identifier. She had an
Oh my
identifier for them.
gosh. And then you see the people, you want to just fall out on the floor
Right.
laughing. My mother was a comedian. She really was. And then the
Yeah.
other thing that belly laugh that I have thinking about her, when I was a teenager, she loved to dance. She
Okay.
loved music. She loved to dance. And so I don't even know what we were doing. One time we were just fooling around in the family room and she goes, "Let me break dance for you. Let me show you how this works."
Oh
And
God.
she got on her back and tried to spin. I lost it. It's like, come on, mommy, stop it. But every time I think about that, I
Right.
just want to crack up because it's like
Yeah.
my mother was hilarious. She was literally hilarious.
Yeah. Yeah. Mine too. And there were things that were, especially in 2026 standards, that were very but we couldn't laugh at now. But my mother had a warped sense of humor, and so you see things on TikTok, you know, certain trends that are happening today, y'all. And when I tell you, I laugh until I cry. I'm like, "Oh, girl, we would be cutting up because we would send memes and reels to each other, and so it's so special to have that. And so as we think about that, when we reflect on some of what we've unpackaged, do you think it has shaped the intentionality with which you parent, and how?
So I have 3 sons and 1 daughter, and I don't baby any of them any longer. But where my daughter is concerned, it's almost like I'm the battery pack for her. I'm like, there is absolutely nothing that you can't do. And I remind her that though your grandmother went about living her life a different way, where it seemed like it was in opposition to everything, because she grew up in Liberia, left Liberia for France, left France for Minnesota, left Minnesota for North Carolina, then came up to New York, but it was always like in reaction to something else. And so now I'm like, you get to choose instead of consistently reacting to someone else choosing for you. So at least with her, I'm way more deliberate than I thought I'd ever be. And I've taken my hand off of my children, because my mom always used to say, when you were in 4th grade, I gave you to God, and God said, I got her. You never have to worry. And I'm like, well, my worrying ain't helped so far, so might as well do the same thing.
Interesting. That's beautiful.
I find myself being more creative where I'm trying things because my mom was always trying something.
Okay.
Whether it was baking, which I have not tried that yet because I'm horrible at it, but flowers, getting fresh flowers, filling the home with fresh flowers, using construction paper. I mean, I literally went to the store looking for construction paper to do something.
Okay.
Thinking about my mom. So in parenting, I'm encouraging my children to be creative, to not wait, do not hold things for special occasions, just do it. One thing my mom would always say, once we were all out the house, she was going to travel. But she kept getting sick along the way, so that never, ever happened.
Right.
So when I hear my son or my daughter saying, oh, I may go try that, or I'm going to just wait a little while before I do this, I'm like, no, don't wait, because you may never get to do it.
Yeah.
So that's like doing the thing with the church, with the women's ministry, the mother-daughter, because I'm taking my daughter with me.
Oh, nice.
And then we're going to stay over and travel some more. But
Oh, nice.
we're going to do it. So so my daughter says, well, Mama, I only have so much PTO time or whatever. And I said, that's cool. But how bad do you want it? And do you want to take that walk time? And she was thinking, well, maybe I can do that again years later. I said, nope. And when we started having the conversation, she said, you're right. Let's go. Let's do it. Let's enjoy it. So in parenting now, I'm finding that I'm not going to wait.
Yeah.
because she waited for so long to do something. She never got a chance to do it.
Yeah.
So I found sometimes she was living through us, me especially, because I'm the traveler, that she was like, bring me back this, bring me that, back that. So I'll bring her vases everywhere I would go to say, here, you've been there with me or whatever.
Yeah.
So I'm encourage them, don't wait. Don't wait until later. If you have the means to do it, just go ahead and do it now.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good, Gail.
Yeah, so I am very intentional about creating those laugh till you can't breathe moments with my boys.
Yeah.
And what that looks like, I have 3 boys. It looks like being very vulnerable. It looks like being very playful. Most people who would know me, probably, unless you actually get close to me, wouldn't know how playful I actually can be and how much I like to cut up as much as the next one.
Yeah.
But that will be my boys' testimony of me. Our mom loved to cut up.
Yeah.
You all have heard about the Uno championships in my house. We don't pick partners.
No.
I taught my children how to talk smack to make the Uno games more enjoyable for all of us.
Right.
So, it's like I want them to, just like I have these wonderful memories of my mother, that if I bring some of these things up with my sister, we'll just be on the floor laughing and crying, just thinking about her.
Right.
And I want my sons to have those same experiences of me where they're like, man, mom was just something else. I can't believe she used to do this and that. And like we dance in the family room. We used to make, when they were younger, not so much now, we used to make up whole dance routines. And so, we're just doing the whole 9 yards. I want them to remember these things about me.
Yes.
When my time to become an ancestor comes.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's about it's really about being intentional, not manufacturing, right? But just being intentional about it. Tanya, what say you?
You know what? I'm going to echo everything that Cynthia said with the memories. That's really important, is the memories. And I'm going to kind of say the memories, but also the traditions.
Yes.
My mother always made Christmas cookies. I remember Christmas cookies every year, all the time. The things that she made, she did a lot of things my mother was very crafty. She was very talented.
Okay.
So, bake or cook these things, but she did these things. And I wanted to make sure that my boys experienced those things as well. It's interesting enough, this year, I just, for whatever reason, just wasn't feeling the holiday.
Yeah.
I didn't want a tree. I didn't want any of this stuff. I didn't want to do it. And it's funny, my youngest son said, I mean, literally, I was like, I'm doing nothing. And so he came to me and he said, well, are we at least going to have Christmas cookies?
Oh.
And that right there, that I was like, okay, Lord, that took me out. Now I got to go in here and start making some cookies because it has just, become that thing. And I think the other piece of it is preparing them.
Yeah.
For me not being here.
And by preparing them, are you meaning teaching them life skills and making sure that they'll be able
all of
to
the above?
Yeah.
All of the above. Life skills, these are things that you can do. You are completely self-sufficient to have that to, not only am I your cheerleader, but for you to be your own cheerleader.
That's right. That's right.
All of these things. And I have had the conversation with both of them to say, I will not be here forever.
Yeah.
And this is what I need you to be able to do.
Yeah.
And it's hard because I know where it's rooted.
Yes. And like my mother told me, the pain they'll feel. That's just a fact.
Absolutely.
That's a fact. It's interesting that you brought up the preparing them, because that was the angle I was going to take.
Mm-hmm.
In addition to all the things, the memories, the laughter, I am dogmatic almost at this point about making sure they don't have a lot of ish to clean out.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all, my mother was single, and when we cleaned out mama's house, my mother would get frustrated with things. And I'm going to text you all a picture because I have all of your cell phone numbers. I wish I had it to pull up for the podcast. When my mother would lose things, she'd just go buy another one.
Ooh.
So we found, I'm not playing, We found about 7 laptops. We found no fewer than 8 cell phones. My mother's cell phone bill was $600+ a month because she would just go get a new phone. That's the reason I had to turn her phone off. I would still have my mother's phone on if it were up to me. But I was like, now this, look here, I ain't even that sad. I'm not that sad. We're going to cut this. We're going to cut this off and we're going to be okay. Apple Watches, that's the picture I'm going to send to you all. You know how you pair an Apple Watch on my mother's cell phone. There are no fewer than 5 Apple Watches that were paired to it. My mother had that many Apple Watches that I brought back, and I was literally just giving Apple Watches away. But I don't want my children. She had blow dryers, and both neither one of us style hair. And Tanya, y'all know, Cynthia, y'all know I cannot style hair. My mother had staplers. I mean, just it was, you name it, y'all. It was funny. We started saying we should take shots, and then the next. Take a shot for every multiple thing you found. But I am dogmatic that my children won't have that testimony because, like, what do you do with it? Again, like you all said, the traditions, the memories, the laughter, and just being able. One thing this journey has taught me is not to take myself so seriously. Yeah. Embrace my flaws out loud. If you had one nugget to give to our audience, what would that be? To set us off, to set it off, I'll go first. My nugget would be, look at her, look at your mother. Like when you're talking, like look at her and just behold her. When you say I love you, look her full in the eyes when you can be in person, right? Look her full in the eyes and say, Mama, I love you. You know what I'm saying? Don't be busy. Don't be busy.
It's interesting that you said don't be busy, because I was sitting here thinking, sacrifice that moment. Like the phone call could come and you're like, oh, I'll call her back. No, go ahead and take that phone call.
Yep.
So yeah, when you said don't be busy, yes, don't be busy. Yeah, take that call.
And send that video of your teenager walking upstairs.
At 15, right?
Right. Yeah.
I don't want to say as strange as it sounds. And when you said to look at her, but like you said, to look at her, but I mean, take everything in. If it's a freckle, if it's a mold, if it's a gray, whatever it is, take it all in. It's like having that mental picture. I mean, I can clearly, see my mother, but I can also see my mother and myself.
Yes.
The other thing is, for those, as simple as it is, you know what? When you get that hug, inhale.
That's good.
Inhale. I mean, inhale, take it all in, feel it, really. But, it's just all of it, because I mean, I can physically feel myself, because, one of the things my mother used to do, when you want to comfort you, was lay down, put your head in her lap. And she would just, rub my head. And if I'm having a hard time, it's crazy. It's like, but, like I can be leaning over on the couch and I'll start rubbing my own head like this. I mean, because it's I've got to simulate, what it was.
Yeah.
But that's, those are those simple things. You can say all the other stuff like, well, make sure you have your things in order. Please be prepared.
Yeah.
Do all the rest of that. No, let the moment be the moment. And I like what Gail said. Give that time. Don't, I got to hurry up and I got to go. And give it every time. Not that one time.
Yes.
Give it every time. Give it every time.
I agree.
One that I've learned, and then learned through a very painful situation of something that happened to someone I know, my advice would be keep the accounts clean. There is nothing that is happening in either one of your lives that is worth the anger, the not talking, the sometimes complexity of relationships with your mother or really anybody else.
Sure.
Because you don't know how much time is promised.
That's right.
No time is actually
Come on now. Come on. Yeah.
And so when I was a freshman in college, maybe a junior, I have a friend who got into an argument with her mother about a TV that she wanted that her mother wasn't going to buy her to send down for college.
Mm-hmm.
So she stopped speaking to her mother. And within 45 days, her mother had a heart attack and died.
And she walked around with that, didn't she?
And that informed and formed
yes
my own relationship with my mother, because I don't care how mad she would make me.
That's right.
I would never, sometimes to my own great taking on of whatever it is.
Yes, ma'am.
I kept the account clear.
Plain. Yes.
I never wanted to live in regret.
Yes.
After she was gone.
That's
and
right.
So I approached our relationship like my father would say. I kept my priorities straight when it came to this relationship, and being in relationship, and a good one.
Yes.
That was the priority.
Amen.
Record their voice.
That's good too. Yes. Yeah.
Because even if it's keeping one voice mail.
Record. That's beautiful. Well, ladies, thank you so much for what you have shared. This has been an incredible time. We did what I expected. We laughed, we cried, we held space for each other. And I am absolutely convinced that God has been glorified and our mothers have been honored. Because this grief journey, we didn't pick it, it chose us, which means He chose us. And He chooses those He trusts. You see, He chose Job. I feel my help coming on, Gail. He just, I need a good Hammond. I need a Hammond organ back over in there. No, but those He chooses, He trusts, and He chose us for this testimony because it all works for our good and His glory. I do believe that this time today, He was absolutely glorified. And again, that our moms, our mothers, our matriarchs, their memory was honored. So thank you so much for joining me. And to the audience, we say, be well, beloveds.